Coming up on 5 Minute News. US government sues Facebook for predatory conduct. Senate backs massive arms sales to UAE. And hackers steal Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine data in Europe. It's Thursday, December 10. I'm Anthony Davis. The US government and 48 states and districts sued Facebook on Wednesday, accusing it of abusing its market power in social networking to crush smaller competitors and seeking remedies that could include a forced spin-off of the social networks Instagram and WhatsApp messaging services. The landmark antitrust lawsuits announced by the Federal Trade Commission and New York Attorney General Letitia James mark the second major government offensive this year against seemingly untouchable tech companies. The Justice Department sued Google in October for abusing its dominance in online search and advertising, the government's most significant attempt to buttress competition since its historic case against Microsoft 2 decades ago. James noted at a press conference that it's really critically important that we block this predatory acquisition of companies and that we restore confidence to the market. The FTC said Facebook had engaged in a systematic strategy to eliminate its competition, including by purchasing smaller up-and-coming rivals like Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014. James echoed that in her press conference, saying Facebook used its monopoly power to crush smaller rivals and snuff out competition, all at the expense of everyday users. The FTC fined Facebook $5 billion in 2019 for privacy violations and instituted new oversight and restrictions on its business. The fine was the largest the agency has ever levied on a tech company, although it had no visible impact on Facebook's business. Facebook called the government's actions revisionist history that punishes successful businesses and noted that the FTC cleared the Instagram and WhatsApp acquisitions years ago. The government now wants a do-over, sending a chilling warning to American business that no sale is ever final, Facebook General Counsel Jennifer Newstead said in a statement that echoed the company's response to a recent congressional antitrust probe. Facebook is the world's biggest social network with 2.7 billion users and a company with a market value of nearly $800 billion, whose CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, is the world's fifth richest individual and the most public face of big tech swagger. An effort to stop Donald Trump's high-tech weapons deals with the United Arab Emirates fell short on Wednesday in the US Senate as Trump's fellow Republicans opposed resolutions of disapproval seeking to block the sale of drones and advanced F-35 fighter jets. The Senate voted 50-46 and 49-47, mostly along party lines, to stop consideration of the resolutions, killing them at least until President-elect Joe Biden takes office on January 20th. Biden is expected to review the sales. Early on Wednesday, the Trump administration had issued a formal notice of its intention to veto the measures if they pass the Senate and House of Representatives. The White House said the sales support U.S. foreign policy and national security objectives by enabling the UAE to deter increasing Iranian aggressive behavior and threats in the wake of its recent peace deal with Israel. Backers of the sale also described the UAE as an important U.S. partner in the Middle East. The two weapons packages are a major component of a planned $23 billion sale of high-tech armaments to the UAE. Opponents said the transactions were being rushed through without sufficient assurances that the equipment would not fall into the wrong hands or fuel instability in the Middle East. Some US lawmakers also criticized the UAE for its involvement in the war in Yemen, a conflict considered one of the world's worst humanitarian disasters. The administration told Congress in November it had approved the massive sale to the UAE of products from General Atomics, Lockheed Martin, and Raytheon Technologies. Some lawmakers also worried that the weapons transfers might violate US guarantees that Israel will retain a military advantage in the region. But Israel, which enjoys strong support in Congress, has said it does not object to the sales. Accusing Trump of cutting short or sidestepping Congress's typical review of major weapons sales, lawmakers have tried repeatedly during Trump's 4-year presidency to block his plans for arms sales. None of the efforts succeeded, either dying in the Republican-led Senate or, if passed, failing to win the 2/3 majorities in the Senate and House to override Trump's vetoes. US drug maker Pfizer and its German partner BioNTech said yesterday that documents related to development of their COVID-19 vaccine had been unlawfully accessed in a cyber attack on Europe's medicines regulator. The European Medicines Agency, which assesses medicines and vaccines for the European Union, said hours earlier it had been targeted in a cyber attack. It gave no further details. Pfizer and BioNTech said they did not believe any personal data of trial participants had been compromised, and EMA had assured us the cyber attack will have no impact on the timeline for its review. It was not immediately clear when or how the attack took place, who was responsible, or what other information may have been compromised. Such documents could be extremely valuable to other countries and companies rushing to develop vaccines, experts said. The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine is a top contender in the global race to beat back COVID-19. Hacking attempts against healthcare and medical organizations have intensified during the COVID-19 pandemic, as attackers ranging from state-backed spies to cyber criminals hunt for information. Meanwhile, Britain's medical regulator warned yesterday that people with a history of serious allergic reaction shouldn't get the COVID-19 vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech, and investigators looked into whether 2 reactions on the first day of the vaccination program were linked to the shot. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.